Yo, what's going on, everyone? Z-Boss here. Welcome to our Cleveland Cavaliers rebuild. So, as we're looking at this team right here, this team is pretty good. It's pretty set up for kind of the future with guys like, Mitchell, has guys like Garland, has guys like Jared Allen. I mean, it has good players on this team. Donovan Mitchell, Okoro, Evan Mobley, Jared Allen, LeVert. I mean, they have these players that can really grow into a solid line for the future. So at the halfway point of season number 1, we're sitting as a 6th seed, not really doing what I would have expected this team to do. Donovan Mitchell, of course, is having a great season, averaging 30 points. Garland's having a great year, averaging a triple-double. Mobley's having a great year, averaging a triple-double, double-double. But they're all averaging double-doubles. So this Cleveland Cavaliers team is a very promising team. I mean, Mobley looks like a defensive superstar in this league. It looks like he's gonna, if he develops for what he's kind of already been through, he looks like he's gonna be that kind of defensive powerhouse that every team kind of wants. So as long as they can put a team together that can kind of not go around him, but kind of complement him, because I think he's going to be the star in Cleveland. I mean, when Mitchell gets old, there's going to be Garland, it's going to be Mobley, and those are going to be the two guys that are going to be the centerpieces of this franchise. I mean, and for so long without LeBron, this Cleveland Cavaliers team didn't seem like a team that was poised to make it deep in the playoffs ever. They sound like a team that without LeBron, they could never get the right draft picks, they could never get the right free agency, they could never get those players without a big star like LeBron. But it seems like through trades and drafting, most improved player goes to Evan Mobley, as you see there. Evan Mobley also makes the first team All-NBA, which is excellent to see. But you kind of see how I don't know if it's their front office has changed or what's happened, but they've really made some good signings, some good draft picks. I mean, to kind of get them deeper into the season, get them deeper into the playoffs. But as you see here, we go to their conference finals first. Here we go against this team with James Harden, the 76ers, James Harden, Joel Embiid, Tyrese Maxey. They beat us in 6. The Sixers go on and win. So season number 2, we're coming back here. We don't really know, we're at free agency here. So we're at moratorium, and we kind of want to bring back Okoro. Okoro we want to bring back. That's for certain. For sign him for a 4-year deal. Now we're kind of looking at, are we just going to bring back the players that we kind of have? Or are we going to be, looking for other players to bring into this lineup and to really take this team hopefully to the next level? I mean, we made it to the conference finals last year, so will this be a building block for us, or will that be the highlight of this core, which you will see later on in the video? As always, like and subscribe if you enjoy this video. It really helps me out. Going to be signing Josh Hart there. I think that's a really good signing for us, kind of as a backup small forward. So we're looking at the team here, and we don't look that good at small forward, but I mean, we look good everywhere else. So of course we're going to have the big 3 of Mitchell, Mobley, Garland, kind of Jared Allen, if you consider him to be one of the big 4. But we're kind of into the end of season number 2. We finished, I think we finished better than we did last year. I think we finished 50-32. Excuse me if I'm wrong. Mobley makes all defensive second team. Of course, he's a stud on defense. We finished off as a 2nd seed, simulate the play-in. We get the Washington Wizards in round number 1. They have Collier, Poole, Kispert, Kuzma, Claxton, Robert Williams. So they have a decent team, but I don't think it's anything that we should be scared of. We beat them in 6. Now the Atlanta Hawks, the absolute bane of my existence in this rebuild. They go to a Game 7. I'm like, okay, this could be our chance here, because I think that the matchup that we would have gotten in the conference finals would have been favorable towards us. So we go up in the first quarter, have a really bad 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. We're down by basically 3. Gonna take this slowly. We're not scoring any points. We get up by 3. They score a last minute 3. We lose. The Charlotte Hornets against the Atlanta Hawks, and of course the Atlanta Hawks win in 7. So now we're going into free agency here. We don't have any draft picks really, because we traded for Donovan Mitchell, so we don't have too many draft picks, and when we do get them, we hopefully want them to be at the end of the first round, so it's not really that important. But we're kind of looking at how much money we got. We're kind of seeing, do we want to go after a Giannis, or do we want to go after Mitchell and Mobley and Okoro? Okoro doesn't want to sign with us, but we decided on going back with kind of the core and going with Mitchell and Mobley just to kind of, run it back. I mean, we had a really good year last year. We finished as the second seed last year, so hopefully we can build on that. So now we're just kind of looking at who we can kind of maybe bring in. So I'm thinking about Kispert. He's an RFA, so I'm not really going to do that. Josh Green seems like a decent player, so we're going to try to get him. Mobley gets a qualifying offer. We match that. Unfortunately, we don't be able to get him. So we go after, I think it was Bogdan Bogdanovic and Christian Wood. So we get Christian Wood to be a backup point guard. We don't get him because we don't have enough salary cap. But we go after, who did we go after? I think it was Terrence Davis. Yeah, look at that. Look at that 2K. It doesn't want me to sign him on the minimum, but it wants me to sign him on the minimum. So that makes a lot of sense. So we look like, if, guys build, we need another point guard. But we're really at the same place that we were last year. I mean, we got a better backup big, but we didn't really improve too much. So that's the part that really concerns me. And we also have way too many centers on our team, so hopefully we can trade him for a point guard. We sent him to, we're looking at the Charlotte Hornets here, we're looking at draft picks, and we're like, we don't really want draft pick, we want a backup point guard. So we're looking through the trades, we see Mo Bamba, we see a Houston Rockets first round pick, and I'm kind of like, you know what, let's just take the Rockets are a really weird team in this. For some rebuilds, they finish absolutely, at the bottom of the table, and then sometimes they'll go on for a three-peat of winning NBA championships. They're just one of those teams that you just never really know. So we see a lot of red here in player progression, which is never good. Amani Bates went up by 2. Our draft pick in the first year went up by 3. Now we're looking halfway through season number 3. Everyone's kind of averaging what you expect them to average. Donovan Mitchell is having more of a consistent year with Darius Garland. So I'm not going to be too mad at that, but we're not doing too good. So I'm just looking at our draft picks right now. We have the Cavaliers and the Nets, and I'm thinking about this because I'm like, do we want to maybe trade some of these players away and try to kind of tank? So I'm looking at trades for Jared Allen. I see the Sengun trade, and I'm like, that could just be what this team needs. So we actually have an excellent second half of the year. And we went from, I think, the third worst team in the Eastern Conference to just about or in the play-in. So we really improved. I think we do make the play. No, we make the 4th seed. So we had a really good second half of the season. Against the Toronto Raptors, they brought back Fred VanVleet. Their team. It's kind of all the same. But you see that we go up 3-1, we go 3-2, we go to Game 7. We beat them in 7. Then we go up against the absolute bane of my existence, the Atlanta Hawks. Can never seem to beat them in this rebuild. There's always that one team per rebuild for me. I don't know what it is. But we just couldn't beat them. So if you see here, we go back to another, late game in the series. They jump up to an early lead, and they never really look back. So unfortunately, the Cleveland Cavaliers have been eliminated again. The Atlanta Hawks go into the finals yet again, win another championship. They didn't even have Trae Young. So we are sitting here with our first round pick, and we're kind of looking around, seeing who we want to draft. We draft that guy, and then we draft who do we draft? We draft Caden Boozer. So we draft those two players to kind of hopefully be some good bench pieces for a 75 and 73 overall. One of the players actually grows into a very decent player. Now we bring in our rookie from the first year. He's now a 76 overall, so he's developed okay. Not enough to really become a good, you kind of want that 77 to be your backup. But now we see Evan Mobley doesn't want to come back. Now, I don't know. Maybe it's because I haven't been rebuilding too long. I don't know why this happens. I don't know how. But he doesn't want to come back. So I'm like, shoot. I'm like, we need something to really push this team forward. We don't have that much cap. I was kind of hoping on Evan Mobley to come back. He doesn't want to come back. So I'm like, do we just blow it up? And now I see this trade here for Sengun and Mitchell for Giddey and Brunson. And I'm like, that's a great, I think that's a good trade for us. We keep Christian Wood, so we kind of keep him as a thing. But I'm just saying blow up the core here. So I see Hero. I see Davion Mitchell. I see Bradley Beal. I see these players that could do a good job. I see James Harden. I see Ahmed Thompson. I see these good trades for Darius Garland. Now, I know looking back at it, I probably shouldn't have made that trade, but I do make that trade for, I think it was, who was it again? Completely blows. I guess I'll see it when I go into free agency. It was for Paul George. So we're going to move Paul George to the power forward position. Get him. So now our team is looking, it looks revamped. Now, this could be completely my mistake in blowing up the team, but I felt like when in 2K and when I rebuild, when I feel like I have hit kind of a peak, I tend to blow up the teams. I tend to try to get new players and, a lot of draft capital so I can rebuild the team. Which, it could completely be my fault, but it's the way it is. It's the way I've always been in 2K. I mean, I don't like progressing through years without improvement. So if I see that we've hit kind of our maximum and we're not really going to be able to beat the Atlanta Hawks, the OKC Thunders, I try to kind of step back and say, what can I do? So now we're looking at Caden Boozer and a first round pick. I'm not going to Mara. We're kind of looking for a trade for him to kind of pick up a better player for now. I see this Lonzo Ball trade in a first round pick. We picked that up, so now we're going to be looking like a team of Lonzo Ball when Jalen Brunson, of course, he's injured for the preseason. But now we're looking halfway through the year. We are now the 5th seed, so we're doing okay. Of course, Josh Giddey is a beast in this. Paul George is averaging pretty good. Brunson's averaging almost 18 points and 6 assists. So everyone on our team is kind of doing okay. Again, we don't have that. It's so hard for me because I haven't been able to have a team that can really go after one of these 95-plus players. I've kind of had to, I know they move around a lot in the game, like these Giannis's and these KDs and these LeBrons. But they kind of move around a little bit, and I don't really, it's not that I don't appreciate that, but I don't think that it's realistic to see Kawhi Leonard going to, like, the Utah Jazz. Because I don't think that will ever realistically happen. So, being a team like Cleveland, I have to rather rebuild the draft-wise or, like, rebuilding through trades. So, we don't get anyone here on the first, second, or third team. No, we do get Josh Giddey. Never mind. We get Josh Giddey. We make the play-in as the 10th seed, so we had a really kind of bad second half of the year. It wasn't too promising for us at all. But we go in against the New York Knicks. We beat them, I think, by 10 points. So we had a good little run there. And we go up against the team that we lost to, I think, in year number 1 or year number 2 in the conference final. We go against the 76ers, and of course, it's a very tight game. It's one of those nail-biters. So we go up at the very end, and then they come back, beat us by 3 or 4 points. So I'm like, shoot. I'm like, was all this trading and was this retool for us? Or basically a rebuild, we basically got rid of everyone. But was this pointless? So now looking at free agency of year number, I think this is 5 or 4. It's hard to kind of see what will improve this team. Because, of course, we have a really good 1, we have a really good 2, we have a really good 3. We have a decent 5, a decent 4 when we get Jared Vanderbilt on the team. So we have a bunch of players that can do a decent job in the NBA. But we don't have anyone that can really win us games single-handedly. Of course, Josh Giddey can. Of course, Paul George used to be able to. Paul George really regresses in this game once he reaches, the 37 range, of course. But we're looking at the team here. The team is looking, it looks good. The starting lineup looks good, and we look deep. Worst player on the team is 77 overall. We're the 5th seed, so we're averaging mediocrity in the playoffs. We're always that 5th seed, kind of. So I'm like, what can we do here? Because this is what I always am thinking when I rebuild teams, is what can I do to improve this team? What can I do to get this team to the next level? So I'm like, let's see what's listening on Paul George. He was having a little bit of a down season. So I was kind of like, let's maybe see what we can get for him and maybe a Mitchell Robinson kind of guy or a John Collins. So we tried to trade for Mitchell Robinson. They don't want him. We're going to trade for Zubac. And we see this Jimmy Butler and Robert Williams trade. And I'm like, you know what? We're taking a little bit of a hit at our backup center point. But I think Jimmy Butler, with his defensive ability, can really help this team out. And I think that, we're 35-21 come basically the trade deadline. But I think this is a really good move for us. I think that it really helps us out defensively with our defensive woes. Having him, having Lonzo Ball, having these players that can really do a good job for you defensively, I thought was kind of going to be the way that we moved going forward. Of course, Jimmy Butler being old, it doesn't really help out this rebuild. But when I get to kind of the end of the rebuild, I really like going for the win now players. So we finish off with a decent second half of the year. Josh Giddey gets all NBA second team. We don't get really anyone else. I think that we might have got an all defense. No, we did not get an all defensive team. But we finish here as the 5th seed yet again against the Chicago Bulls. CJ McCollum, Anthony Simmons, Zach LaVine, Cooper Flagg. So they have a decent team. We go up in game 1. We win in 5. Now we're playing the absolute bane of my existence without. So here's the thing. Without DeJounte Murray, without Trae Young. So I don't know why this Atlanta Hawks team does so good. But I mean, I'm like, okay, this is going to be one of the last years. We're turning this down to an 8-man rotation. We're going to play our stars. If we're going back, we're going out on our backs. We're at least knowing that we put our best effort going forward. So we have a really good first quarter. The rest of the quarters don't go our way. We lose by 2. That's how tight of a game it was. We lose by 2. If one team doesn't win, the other team wins. So the OKC Thunder win, of course. Jimmy Butler goes down. Brunson goes down. So, season number, whatever this is. Brunson, Giddey, Butler, Collins, Reed, Harrellington, Ball, Vanderbilt. Then we're going to repeat that to a 9-man rotation so we don't get our whole starting lineup injured. But now we're looking at kind of who we can kind of see if we can trade. So I see this trade for Kristaps Porzingis. I'm like, you know what, Jimmy Butler, you're 39. Get a player that's a little bit younger, a little bit less contract. This is going to be our last year, so I'm kind of going, throwing paint at the wall and seeing what sticks. But nothing's kind of going, this whole rebuilds on my series have not really gone my way. And I don't know what that is. I don't know why it's kind of always been this way, but it seems like in, next year it's going to be a really hard rebuild unless you're one of the big, teams like the OKC Thunders or the Houston Rockets or, in this game, the Atlanta Hawks. But, I mean, again, I'm trying my hardest to kind of, not improve this team, but kind of to throw everything at the wall and see what we can get here. So we're just going to hold on here with Jalen Brunson. And we're going to go to the second half of the year. We're down 10 games, under 500. So even though I thought this team was good and I thought it was deep, we don't really get anyone that can really lead this team. We have a bunch of really good players, but we don't have that one guy that can really lead us to a championship. So we go here, finish off the year. Don't make the playoffs, unfortunately. We finished with 50 losses. 50 losses. So, of course, we're not going to be the playoffs with 50 losses. The guy we traded our way is almost having a triple-double now. Of course, that always happens to me. I don't know why I trade them away, but I mean, another rebuild, another failure. I have to learn how to cheese this game to win. I have to learn. But, of course, the Atlanta Hawks almost go to the finals yet again. Thank you guys very much for watching, and see ya.